What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. We are about to finish up the draft series. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The draft is so near. I can taste it. Oh, my Lord. We are 5 days away. This Thursday is going to be an exciting one, and the days leading up are going to be exciting as well. Hopefully, you were able to check out all of those other videos on every damn position. We went over them all. Quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, offensive line, and then we even got the special teams in there. Then we did the defense, and I split it up: the interior defensive linemen, edge rushers, linebackers, corners, and of course, we're here to talk about the safety. So we got them in, those tiers again, and I have them ranked within those tiers. And then we'll talk about what the Eagles have at the safety position. Then, of course, the top 10 fits. And look, not exactly the deepest class when it comes to top tier talent, but maybe some diamonds in the rough here. So we're going to talk about them here tonight. I appreciate you all taking the time. It's a very ugly night out there. So hopefully you're doing well, staying safe, and let's get this thing going here. But you got any questions, comments, feel free to throw them my way. My man Drew in here. Let's go. My dude Sean. Yes, let's get this party started in here. Let's go. Liz in here too. Let's go. Excited to see it. This is how we want to end the draft series. Getting excited for it. Now, of course, I guess we could say that the real end will be when I do that. The way I'm thinking I'm going to do it is maybe give you like my top 10. We're going to do that 1 point only mock draft. We're going to do a couple things the next couple days to decide, which way I think the Eagles are going to go. And this has been a tough one because there are a lot of talented players, but we've got pick 10, we've got pick 30, and a lot of moves could be made. A lot of players talked about, obviously, Derrick Henry being talked about, and made a video about that earlier, how exciting it would be for him to be on the Eagles. But let's be real here. I really don't think that move happens. It'd be great, but taking up a massive amount of cap space. And I've told you, you can extend him. You can definitely clear a lot of that cap space, but you're still going to be spending around $8.5 million. So it's a lot of money invested into the running back. You're giving up picks where I think, you could build this thing for the future. Now, if you want to go get a home run hitter, get Derrick Henry and, whatever, dude. This offense would be very intriguing. That'd be for sure. So we shall see. We'll get, if you missed that show, go check it out. But look, I really don't think it's happening, but we'll get into that if anything goes down there. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into these safeties. And I've got the day 3 back end and the undrafted here first. And look, some guys like Jordan Howden, Brandon Hill, I think would be intriguing to pick up if they go undrafted. Maybe they go in the 6th, 7th round there. Honestly, this was a tough one to try to break these down, and honestly, some of these guys in higher tiers, I think, could go lower. So, maybe some of these guys go higher, but, for me, I think if the Eagles are going to take any of these kids, there are some options in, these mid to later rounds. And of course, the Eagles don't have a 4th, 5th, or 6th round pick, but we've talked about it. You could trade any of those picks. We've got 26 total in the next 3 years. So we could definitely acquire some. So we're always looking at the talent in each of these rounds, deciding whether or not, and guys like Halam and, Torrance there, I think definitely some intriguing options. You're looking at, in rounds 2, 3, I think if any of these guys, fall to you in the 3rd round, or, you do acquire one of those 4th round picks and these guys fall, I think definitely some options here. And we'll be definitely breaking down some of these guys here. But I think, this safety class, again, for me, a lot of questionable guys. Like, I think a lot of prospects that played a lot of nickel corner, but, luckily for the Eagles, I think we're going to need those hybrid type safety players. So we do have some guys that I'm intrigued by, but regardless, we'll take a look at those fits here shortly. Now, there's one guy that I believe is 1st round talent. Now, I'm not sure if he goes in the 1st round, but I definitely think he should and could. So, depending on, again, not having a lot of safeties, it's how you look at this guy. He played a lot of nickel corner at Alabama, and I think this dude's very talented. He could line up all over the place. So We'll talk about him here in a little bit, but that's how I have the safeties here in this draft in tiers and ranks there. But let's look at what the Eagles have so we can decide why I have, these guys as the best fits. And you can tell me who you think are the best fits for the Eagles here. So we know that CJ Gardner Johnson and Marcus Epps both left in free agency, both the starters. Now, Reed Blankenship stepped in, did great when CJ Gardner Johnson was out. We know Andre Sacheret can provide that depth at safety, nickel corner, brings you a special teams ace. Kayvon actually stepped in and did pretty well at times. We brought in Terrell Edmonds in free agency. I love that addition, but I would not mind adding to this room. You brought in Justin Evans as well. Hopefully he can stay healthy. And you got some young guys in Marquise Blair and Tristan McCollum. So we're going to hope that, whoever's starting can get the job done. But I talked about the importance of safety, to Sean Desai and how I feel he's going to run this defense. And, I'll get a little bit more into that in this video here. But there's some guys I think could be some good fits for what we're looking for here to get the job done here on defense. So, yeah, big losses. And you hear everybody, oh, you're doomed. You lost all these. I'm not worried about it. We'll get over it just fine. But what is going on, my man? Appreciate you tuning in again. We're back for round 2. So let's go. We got safeties on the agenda. So let me hear your thoughts. Got a mock. Imagine we move down to 15, third year, bond 30. Yeah, we've talked about trading down. We've talked about, trading up, all kinds of possibilities, my man. And Trenton Simpson, you guys know that was my number one option at linebacker there. So, yes. Really big fan of his. I like Jamie Robinson, and I almost put him on here, but I did not. Old Jamie. I think that for me, he's intriguing, but you'll see my top 10s, and I'll explain a little bit there. But there's some guys. It was really weird picking this 10 because it wasn't like I was blown away, but some of these guys, I'm like, well, I'd like him more because this. So you'll see here in a second. But appreciate you tuning in, Nina, Sean, Supernova, everybody. Twisted. Hope you're all having yourselves a great night. I love Blankenship. So he's going to push people, as well as Terrell Edmonds. So not saying, you have to go get Budda Baker. I would love that, but you can add someone in the draft, allow them to learn if they get thrown into the fire, if they're that good. Not against it. And Reed Blankenship. I love it. Love it. We definitely need a safety out of this draft. I agree with you, Red Eagle. So, we're going to talk about those guys here right about now, and I do like me some Quan Martin. I will not lie to you. So let's jump into this. Love to hear your thoughts on this, and you can keep letting me know who you like, whatever's on your mind here. But up at number 10, Jay Ward. Now, this isn't somebody I'm kicking down the door for. So again, this was really weird picking like who I actually wanted to, be my 10 guys, because I actually had like 20 guys to pick from, and I'm like, well, this guy, but regardless. So 6'1", 188 pounds, ran a 4.55. Now, you can take those numbers with a grain of salt. All that stuff doesn't really have much in the categories of sacks, fumble, all that great stuff. But the QBR allowed, that's not something, that's too great. But he's got great ball skills. He goes up and gets the ball. He's somebody that's actually pretty fun to watch. He's a tall, lanky kid, so like him to put on a little bit of weight there, but I really like how he breaks on the ball. And look, again, he goes up and gets it. And I think that's something that's going to be important in this defense. So wanted to throw him on here, but definitely needs to work on a lot. If you're going to be putting him back there as a hybrid safety, if he's, responsible for dropping back, he's got to work on his back pedal, his angles in pursuit. I think things that, you can see he's got issues with. But for me, this is one of those guys where I'm not, jumping high anywhere. I think you could get him with one of those 7th round picks. Maybe he goes undrafted. So wanted to throw him in there. Was intrigued by him, but there are some other guys that were undrafted that I thought could definitely be intriguing here. Now, up next, this guy is definitely a hybrid player here, but Marty Mapu. So look, he played nickel back last year at Sacramento State, but I mean, he has played all over the place. Dime linebacker. He's played safety. So they've got him listed as safety all over the place. And he's 6'3", 217. He really, I think one of the things is they want him to figure out his position, but he's a weapon. So you add him to your team. You've got a dude that is a hitter. He's a big dude. So I think you've got yourself a box safety. He's definitely not somebody you want to drop it into coverage. And if you're looking for a weapon, which I think Sean Desai is very creative, he will use guys like that. This is another guy I think could go, now the way he showed up at not the combine, at pro day, and he did some things where I thought he showed off that he's got some talent. And look, for me at the Senior Bowl, he looked good. I think this kid has shown, obviously stats don't mean much to me there, but I think that he could come out. He's definitely got some issues, getting off blockers. He's not going to be in coverage. So somebody that you would just use as a weapon. And I think, for me, wanted to just throw him in here. And man, if somebody else is feeling froggy and they want to leap, maybe he goes, in the 5th round. I don't know, maybe 6th or 7th, but I think sky's the limit for the kid. He's got a lot of talent. So we shall see. Now up next, Jason Taylor the second. Nope, no, not that Jason Taylor. But look, I like this kid. So I wanted to throw him on here as well. And I try to give you guys, different, rounds. So we've got these lower end guys that I think would definitely fit into the Eagles. Now you see his QBR allowed 66.9. He's 6 foot, 204 pounds. So a decent size here. And, he ran a 4.540. So he's got some nice speed there. And he does all these things consistently that you want from a safety, but he's an explosive guy. And I think, with that size, obviously much better than some of these other guys you will see here. Obviously, the last guy was a tank, but this dude, I think he's got good route recognition, somebody that would fit into the quarters, defense we're going to be running here. And another guy that goes up and gets the ball. That's something we want in this defense. So he's somebody, he played some corner there and at Oklahoma State. He is somebody, again, we're looking for somebody that's versatile, and he was quite versatile. They used him in the slot, but they also used him as a box and deep safety for the last few years here. So this guy moves all around, and that's one of the things I'm looking for in a safety is that versatility, and I think he'd fit right in here. And look, talking about lower end guys here. So this is something with only having 6 picks. Again, we know we could get more, but if you decide, hey, there's a plethora of guys I like in that pool, that's the route we could definitely go. Now, up next, we have Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M. And this is a weird one for me because I want to put him higher. I want to put him lower. I want to put him higher. It's really like I'm torn here. And I think Antonio Johnson, for me, he definitely, he's another one where, and again, I told you this class is really weird for me, but this dude ran a 4.5240, and at that size, 6'2", 198. I like it a lot, and he does everything I want to see out of a safety. I think this kid, he could be one of the best, and I honestly almost put him higher, but it's weird. This list I have, you'll see here, but another guy that goes up, gets that damn ball. Those ball skills are something I need, but he's got great change of direction, a high football IQ, something you want to see. And, for me, watching him at 6'2", some people call him 6'3" ish, but he's still tall. He's massive when you watch him. But I think for me, this guy, it's fun to watch, but he's not. I think a little bit more weight, put a little more toughness into his game, and I think this kid, he could be a stud. Now, not so much in coverage. Like I think he needs to work on some things a little bit, but I really think that his man coverage and zone coverage are good enough that he could be a starter in this league. So for me, going after a guy like Antonio Johnson, if you're not getting, one of the top safeties, I think he definitely could be considered one of the top safeties. I have him lower on the list because I'm not sure I want to use a 2nd round pick or that 3rd round pick on him. I don't know how the hell I really feel. Maybe I do, but I like the kid. I don't know the Eagles go that route, though, so just kind of had him lower on the list. I think some of these guys that'll go in later rounds would be better fits. So, again, we're talking about fits, not who is better here. So this is not like my top 10 list saying that this next guy is better than him. So just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But up next here, we've got Brandon Joseph finishing off our bottom 5 here. And look, this is a intriguing prospect here because I've seen him flying up and down and all over people's, draft positions here. But for me, I think he could be, a 3rd round pick. I don't know that he goes in the 2nd, but his playmaking skills are definitely to be desired. So, I mean, if he's in that 3rd round, this is somebody maybe I feel like, okay, now if we acquire one of those 4th, 5th round picks, this is where I'm thinking, more where I'd like Brandon Joseph. So I'm not taking him with that third pick. I'm waiting. And if we do, I think we're getting somebody that, again, if you watch this dude, he gets picks. He has 6 in his career, but I think that another high IQ guy that we want that ball hawk in this defense. We had CJ Gardner-Johnson. We lost him. So we're going to need this kid if you get him to work on those coverage skills. Yeah, he can go get the ball, but a little terrible in blocking, a little terrible in getting off the block. And another guy that needs to work on those angles when he's pursuing guys. So I really think that a prospect that if he falls, I would love to have him. And he's a really weird prospect. Like if he falls in like the 7th, oh my God. But I think he's one of the better guys. If you watch his tape, I think there's some promise there. He just needs coached up a little bit. So for me, I think you'd be a great addition to this team and somebody I would be happy if the Eagles go out and get, because, the Eagles, they're looking for somebody that, obviously you lose CJ and Marcus, but you need somebody that obviously has a little bit of versatility. So another guy that played slot corner a little bit last year, played some box safety a little bit last year, but predominantly a deep safety. So you work on his coverage, you work on some things with him. He's a versatile piece that you could add to this defense. And I think, again, I would be ecstatic to have him on the team. So go ahead, Philadelphia Eagles, add a safety to this roster. But yeah, let me know how you feel about that bottom 5, about to jump into this top 5 here. And we've got some intriguing ones here, man. And I think some of these guys down here I could have put in front of them, but it was just really, for me, it was really tough to try to get this stuff. So we'll see. But Jartavius Martin sleeper, like his size. Always giving you the old pause on that one. But I do too. And there's some guys that got some decent size and versatility that will be fitting in here. But that's hilarious. Which one is one of your favorites? Antonio Johnson. Yeah. Real intriguing pick for me. And I told you, like, just putting this as a list, like, was really weird to rank, my top 10. But try not to think too much of the numbers. I try to give you my explanation here, but yeah, I like Jason Taylor II. You can notice there's a little bit of a run on a certain type of player here. But later question, do you think you signed Justin Evans help with special team? Well, some of these guys are going to have to help on special teams. So he's going to have to bring help there. He's going to have to help as a safety, clearly. So yeah, I do believe everybody has to bring something to the table, especially when you are a depth piece. We need help in the special teams game. And I think he will do that. So good question, but let's get into number 5 here, and love to hear your thoughts on the top 5 here. Love to hear what else you've got going on in your mind. But Quan Martin here, Jartavius, out of Illinois, 23 years old, 5'11", 194, and he ran a 4.4640. Oh, yes, indeed. Give me some of that. And this dude, he's actually a pretty damn good tackler for somebody that's fast. You would think, just a speedy cover guy. Not really so much. So this is one of those guys where I feel if you get one of those mid-round picks, if you have traded back, you acquire one of those 4, 5, 6 rounders. Yeah, go ahead, get this kid. But I also think that this kid is such an intriguing prospect that he could go higher than that because of the fact that he is so good against the run. I think that is, with the corner, that's something you love to have. So, an aggressive guy like him, I think that, another ball hawking player, you love to have someone like that in your backfield. So for me, he's a good tackler, as I'd mentioned, but, he's not somebody that's like vicious that we want, but I would bet on it. You put him in the right system, this dude would be knocking heads off. And I think that I would, be happy to have him. Now, one thing I noticed is didn't play zone the greatest, but that's because I feel like these kids sometimes, they're just maybe not being used correctly. Now, they had this kid predominantly playing nickel corner last year. So I think for me, he played deep safety and he looked pretty good there. He played a little bit of box safety as well. They had him playing some outside corner. So this dude, he can do it all. I think that versatility right there in itself really, adds something where you're talking about that quarters defense, I believe, will run, where you can use hybrid safeties. It's not really about free safety, strong safety. So this is one of those kids. It's more of like that nickel back free safety on one side. And look, we've discussed this a million times. I think you're looking for a certain role, and the other role can be filled by Terrell Edmonds, Reed Blankenship. So look, to me, even, those guys can get it done. the two of them, and the young guy can be in the wings here. So we've already got some guys, Josh Jobe and Mario Goodrich that we picked up in the undrafted pool last year. So it could be some guys that you add here, or you go in the draft with maybe some guys like this. Now, Jordan Battle is up next, and this dude's 6'1", 209 pounds. And I do like me some Jordan Battle, I'm not going to lie to you, because, obviously we're probably going to talk about another Alabama safety here. But this dude, he played the deep safety. He played a little bit of the nickel corner as well, played a little bit of box safety, but played a lot of deep safety. But you see that size, 6'1", 209, that gets you pretty excited, right? So it should, because we're looking for a little bit of size every now and again. And again, we could have that hybrid player I've been mentioning, but you could also add a guy like this, where not exactly the greatest QBR allowed there, you see, but I think he does everything really well again. And, coming in with that size, only a 4.55 40, but that's good for a safety. And I think you could get this dude in the third and be pretty happy with what kind of safety you're actually getting here. So for me, I think this is the kind of guy that you could definitely try to be your strong safety. And, the other guys, I think, you can use as the other part of that, quarters safety hybrid guy we talk about. But for me, he's just a big dude, a stud. He's got great body control. I think he's got great hands. And I think for me, he watches the quarterback. He's somebody that's smart, and that's always huge. And, coming from Alabama obviously doesn't hurt anything, but could work a little bit on his tackling. And I think, he just, for his size, he should be able to knock people out, so they're just kids, man. And I think, in the right system, some things can be done here. But for me, Jordan Battle would be a very exciting pick. Now, up at number 3 is another Illinois safety, I guess you could call him. Look, and I'm telling you, this kid, I really, really, really like Sidney Brown. And we talk about these versatile pieces. This dude, he played box safety last year, but he also played dime linebacker and slot corner, and he also played the deep safety. This dude, this is a defensive weapon, and this is a perfect fit for what I believe we're going to be running here. You see 58 QBR given up there. Now, the one thing I noticed about Sidney Brown is this dude effing misses tackles, dude. He's at like 30 in the last couple of years. I do not like that in any way, shape, or form. So go ahead and figure that out, dude, because now, to be fair, CJ Gardner-Johnson missed a lot of tackles too, but he got it done. Now, I'll be real with you. This kid right here, for me, Sidney Brown, is an intriguing one. From all the different things I've seen, there's some of the most hilarious projections to I don't even know what the hell with this kid. But I think for me, if you take him in the 3rd round as well, I think I would be perfectly fine with that. If he falls, you have one of those 4th, 5th round picks, I'm okay with that. But look, he ran a 4.47 40, and he is like, the way he plays with that kind of speed, dear Lord, only 58 QBR allowed there. And last year it was 47.8. Like, what the? This kid, he is somebody you go out and watch. I mean, his 10-yard split, his vertical, everything he did. Oh my God. He is seriously another one of those kids on Bruce Feldman's freak list we talked about. And he's just, I mean, my God, he would fit perfectly into the quad defense we're running, the zone, the match zone concepts. He is the kind of guy. He's got those hands that you want. He's a violent player. He's somebody I think would be perfect. And I almost wanted to put him number 1, but these next couple of guys, you'll hear me there too. But somebody I feel, he struggled a little bit with man coverage, but I think that's why he would fit so perfectly. He's got to work on that back pedal. He's got some things that are coachable, but with his skill set, oh yeah, give me some Sidney Brown. I know a lot of people are very high on Quan Martin, and obviously I am too, with him in my top 5. But yeah, I honestly sat here forever, like, trying to decide which of these guys were going to be in which position, because, well, they're pretty talented, and I think a lot of these guys would fit pretty damn good into this defense. Now, we're at the top 2 here, so want to hear those damn thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. And look, this draft could go many ways, so we'll see. But We answered that one for you. Let's see. There he is, my guy. No doubt. Do everything. Safety nickel. Yes, man. That's what we want, those hybrid guys. Peanut puncher. Yeah, that's exactly. You want somebody that comes out and knocks, that ball out. Tony Paulie. Oh, okay. I like that. No doubt, my man. Referring to Quan Martin. I like Quan Martin, obviously, at number 5 there. But to me, some of these other guys, they fit pretty damn well. So let's get into number 2. And this one, he and Sidney Brown, it was hard to decide who I wanted to go with here, but Christopher Smith out of Georgia. And maybe I just like these Georgia players all of a sudden. But, not all of a sudden. Clearly, the last couple of years, we've been liking them. But Christopher Smith, man, I think for me, this is another one of those players where he played predominantly free safety last year at Georgia, and that's what I want. But he can play that box safety. He can play that nickel corner. We are not going to really ask him to do that, but him having that skill set, that's the kind of guy that you want. And not as many effing missed tackles as the last guy either. I think he only had like 16 in the last couple of years. So much better than the last guy. So I think Christopher Smith, for me, this is another one where we're talking about, if we get one of those 4th, 5th round, picks, that's where this kid is ideal for me. I think that's why I have him, because maybe I want to use those other picks on some other people. But, you see here, this kid, I think for me, he clearly has some coverage ability. But I also think he tackles decent, 5'11", 192. So it's the coverage, though, that really gets me. He's got good run defense. He's got, that versatility, and the fact that he can cover, he can stop the run. He's got versatility. Those are my 3 check marks. He goes up and gets the ball. Those ball skills, that's what I'm looking for. So he fits the mold here, man. And look, he's a little bit small for a safety. You know what I mean? So but I don't care. In this defense, we've talked about it, just like with CJ Gardner-Johnson, those hybrid safeties, I think for me, they're a perfect fit for what we're going to be running here. So I'm not worried about that. So I think Christopher Smith, it was nice to put him at number 2, but Sidney Brown could have definitely been there as well. Now, up next, I think we've got ourselves the number 1 safety in the draft, Mr. Brian Branch out of Alabama. And kind of mentioned him earlier, kind of mentioned the fact that this dude, this is a weapon. This is somebody that literally plays all over the effing place. Now, as I had said, he played predominantly nickel corner last year for Alabama when we were talking about Jordan Battle there. But, obviously somebody you can use as a box safety, free safety, that hybrid type role. He even played some outside corner. This dude, you can blitz him. He is really effing fun to watch. Now, 6 foot 190. So talking about, adding some weight, whatever. But, dude, I don't care. Again, this dude is a weapon. 21 years old. You mold this kid to perfection. And clearly, I mentioned earlier, I think he's a first-round prospect. But if he falls in the second, my God, go get him. But if you're at 30, you trade back, maybe to 40-something. He's there. You get him. Whatever the hell happens, I would not be mad at all to add a kid like this. Now, 4.580. Or 4.58 40. But dude, we talk about his versatility back there, and that helps you. That's great for coverage, especially in that zone that we're going to be running. But the fact, his length and the speed for a 6 foot 190 kid, it's amazing to watch him. Like, he literally makes you crap your pants, because he can really tackle, dude. He can really cover. He can do all of these things really well. And you're like, okay, so where would I put him? You put him anywhere, dude. You really you get a guy that is a surefire star. And maybe it's like a Jabril Pepper situation where they're like, oh, he can just play anywhere. And then if you can't play somewhere, maybe that's an issue. But nah, I don't feel that way for him. I think this kid is really going to be, really impressive. And clearly, he needs some work at safety, but I talked about it. With him playing at Alabama in Nick Saban's defense, come on, man. That's literally where Sean Desai is getting a lot of, his ideas for the schemes and concepts, not just Vic Fangio, but Nick Saban as well. So expect that quad defense. We talk about cover 2, cover 4, cover 6. We're going to be doing so many damn things. Whoa, I cannot wait. But you're going to have guys that are versatile like that. And that's why Brian Branch is number 1. But honestly, Sidney Brown, Chris Smith, I think, Antonio Johnson, Brandon Joseph, any of those guys for me, I would be more than excited about. So let me hear your thoughts down below, but I'm going to get heading out here, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back hopefully tomorrow. I don't know. Got quite a busy day, but if not, it'll be draft week, and we'll be getting all those shows in. The 1 point only mock draft show. We'll have ourselves we'll have the show where I actually tell you who we're going to pick, my opinion. I want to hear your thoughts on that, and we'll get ready for this bad boy. Wednesday, we'll have the day before. We'll get a bunch of stuff off our chest, and then we'll be there, man. So I'll have some pre-draft stuff for you, all that great stuff. But if you need me, feel free to reach out. But if you got anything from this video, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. You can always subscribe to the channel. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. I truly appreciate each and every one of you taking the time. Hope you're having yourselves a great weekend. You stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!